Hello, folks. Dan Bird here. Today is Tuesday, start of the week. Yesterday was a holiday, Martin Luther King holiday, and of course, the inauguration. So we've started off a new administration this week, and the market seems to be pretty happy about it. It's rallying big time. Lots of things are going up, but not everything. Some things aren't going up. We'll take a look at that. And I've also started back the daily scan. So we'll look at some scans too and some stocks that I picked. But there's more in there if you want to take a look at them and choose some for yourself. So we'll look at that at the end. First, I want to go through the market summary. As always, I am not a financial advisor. Anything that I say is for educational purposes only. It's not meant to be a suggestion of to buy or sell anything. You need to understand your own trading style and risk profile. And past performance does not guarantee future results. So let's take a look at what happened today. First, we'll go to the homepage. By the way, this is my website, breakpointtrading.net. If you're interested, the homepage it's free, and the newsletter is free. This comes out every week. And the YouTube channel is right in the upper right. But since you're already here, you should know that. But you can get to it. You can always get to it right from breakpointtrading.net. We'll go to the homepage. If you're interested in subscribing, and I'll show you some of the things that a lot of what we do today will be subscription based. But if you just want to register your email to get alerted that the newsletter is available, you can just subscribe on this one. $0 does not ask for a credit card, and we don't share emails or sell emails or anything like that. But if you want all the other cool stuff that's out here, it's $99 a year, which is pretty cheap. All right, so first we'll take a look at the market bias as always. And what you can see, once again, it went up pretty well, pretty nicely today. So it's continuing to go higher. And this market bias has been a pretty accurate determination of the trend. If we go to the market bias page, that's where we can actually look at the charts, and you'll see bias itself is made up of indexes, sectors, industries, relative charts, commodities, metals, and currencies on a short-term, medium-term, and long-term basis. And these all roll up to a percent bullish. And all of this rolls into an overall percent bullish. Right now it's 67%, so it's green. The only one that's yellow is the medium term, which still has some reds in it. But a whole bunch of the short-term ones turned green today. You can see that right there. So that's kind of how it starts. You can see the orange line is the short term over here. The gray line is the medium term. And that's typically how it starts. The short term goes first, and then the medium term follows. And long term has just been kind of going sideways pretty much. So that's what we look like. Let's look at the S&P first, as always. And as I mentioned last week on Friday, we had a spinning top, even though we broke out of the trend line, and the 5-day moved above the 21-day, giving a short-term up signal. It was a spinning top, which was indecision. And I said that was probably based on the inauguration coming up and it being Friday and a long weekend. And that had to confirm, which means today, and clearly it has confirmed to the upside. So market went up and went all the way and pretty much stayed right near the top. Not quite closing at the high, but pretty close. The high was 60.51 and the close was 60.49. So within 2 points of the high. So that's pretty darn close. So I would say we are now rallying, and I think it will continue to rally. We'll see if we can take out the 6,100 level up here, about 50 points away, and we did 50 points today. So theoretically, we could do that tomorrow. Probably doesn't really work like that. It doesn't really go up straight up like that all the time. So wouldn't be surprised to see it kind of go sideways and maybe even come back down and test the 50-day down here. But in general, the market is heading higher. So if we look at the NASDAQ 100, where the big cap stocks are, it also had a spinning top on Friday, and today had a very bullish candle. It did sell off, but came all the way back up and closed right near the open. So the open was 21,557 and the close was 21,566. So slightly lower, but pretty darn close. So again, I think this one is going to continue to go higher. Let's look at real estate. Actually gave a bullish short-term signal today. We also got short-term signals on artificial intelligence and cloud computing. These two right here, these are ETFs over here, by the way. So if you just wanted to track this and whenever it gave a bullish signal, that's your early signal that maybe you can get into one of these. But these are ETFs, so they can be traded. So if we look at AIQ, which is artificial intelligence, and you can see right there, it's heading higher. It's got that's the signal right there, short-term up signal. It has a medium-term up as well, but it looks like it's heading back to the high right up there. Also, cloud computing, same thing. It's everything's turning up. It's above all the moving averages, so it's moving higher. And look at the volume today. That's great volume for today. So all of this is very positive, very bullish for the market in general. We'll look at gold real quick. Gold also moved higher, broke out of the resistance, and looks like it's heading back to the high up here. So gold is very bullish. How about the US dollar? US dollar is pulling back. It tried to go higher on Friday, and today it's the opposite candle. So in this case, it closed near the low. So the low was 107.92 and the close was 107.94, almost exactly on the low. So that looks like the US dollar looks like it's rolling over and probably is going to be heading lower. If there are ETFs out there, I'm sure, for the US dollar if you wanted to trade that too. And then, of course, Bitcoin right back up to the resistance line almost perfectly. I said this on Friday. I said, I think it's going to back to 106, and it closed at 106.148, almost exactly at the resistance. So now we have to see if it's going to break through. And you can see all the tails up here. It's broken through, but then got rejected or failed breakouts. So I think tomorrow it's probably going to continue to go higher. So it looks to me, and look at the volume down here, huge volume too. So it looks to me like it's going to finally close at some of these higher levels, around 108, maybe even higher than 108 for tomorrow. So that's good news for all the Bitcoin holders. So it's got a short-term up and a medium-term up. Both of those signals are in place, which you can see down here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's, I need to change that to bullish. That's actually a bullish signal now. So short-term bull, and it is a medium-term bull as well. So all that looks pretty darn good. This is for subscribers. They can get this anytime, and you can actually download this spreadsheet so you'll get a much clearer view of what this looks like. And all of the links in the spreadsheet are there. There are links just like these are here. So you can link to any of the charts right from the spreadsheet as well. And down below, even subscribers might not realize this, but I put in the top 20 gainers and losers year to date. Now remember, year to date for 25 is only a couple of weeks. So year to date gainers as of Friday, and I update this once a week, so it's not during the week. But as of Friday, you can see Constellation Energy, Vistra Energy, conventional electricity, quite a few of those. NRG was in there. And then the losers for the week, also two conventional electricity, interesting. And Moderna is in the losers. This is year to date, and also small and mid caps down below. So you can also always take a look at that, and might get some good trading ideas out of this since it's updated every week and it's year to date. So you can see Powell, our good buddy Powell down here, made the list as well. So next, let's take a look at the dashboard. So the dashboard, you can set this up in stock charts. If you are a subscriber, you can set up your own dashboards. You can see on the right, these are the mid-cap stocks, and this is the technical ranking reports. And there are two quantum computing names right at the top. In fact, there's another one, IONQ. So there's 3 quantum computing names in the top 10 of the mid-cap. If we look at the sectors over here, and we'll look at a closer view of the sectors in a minute. In fact, I'll just save that. We'll look at it in a minute. This is the Dow industry group. So we've got real estate, number one. This is the top 10. Industrials, energy, coal, interestingly. I thought it would be pipelines, but it's actually coal. Technology, electronic equipment, industrials, airlines, materials, technology, discretionary, footwear, industrials. Quite a few industrials up there. And this is my top 10 list. And over here, you can see Redwire, which I actually got out of, but take a look at what happened today. It exploded up 50%. Wish I had stayed in that one, but that's okay. That's what happens. Lunar is another really interesting one. That one exploded up higher too. I don't want to chase that one, so I didn't add it today, but it's looking really good. It's actually breaking out above its highs. Soundhound, I did add to our list because that one looks like it's just beginning its run. So it's another AI stock. Here is a quantum computing stock starting to make a comeback. Another quantum computing right here. This one had a great run, and they're struggling to get back, but they're starting to. This one here has been in the top 10 list for quite a while. BTSG had a huge run today, up 12%. And there's Powell in the top 10. So Powell up almost 11% on the day. So it's in the top 10. If we look at the bottom 10, all the way at the bottom of the list, there's Trump. So his company actually didn't do too well today. If we go back one, this one here was actually a short squeeze candidate a couple of weeks ago. Astera Labs is falling. The Honest Company, Jessica Alba's company, that's falling today. One more back and you'll find Eris Water, which is a really interesting company. And I think eventually they're probably going to do well because they supply the water that's needed for fracking. So fracking probably is going to do pretty well under Trump. So they supply all the recycled water for fracking. So I suspect that they're going to be doing well. Apple had a bad day today. I'm not sure what the news was on Apple, but I noticed this earlier. Apple really had a bad day. You can see it way down the bottom right-hand corner. It's almost blurred out with the volume bar, but it's all the way at the very bottom. And one more back, we'll find MicroStrategy right there. Interestingly, MicroStrategy struggled. It kind of went sideways, even though Bitcoin did really well today. So I'm not quite sure what's happening here with MicroStrategy. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Affirm Holdings is also near the bottom of the list. All right, so that's the dashboard. Next, I want to show you the sectors. So, oh no, first I want to show you the market carpet. Market carpet, there's Apple, down 3%. NVIDIA starting to make its run into earnings. Microsoft is flat. Broadcom looked good. Google looked good. Tesla, though, not so great. Amazon looked pretty good. So it's a really bifurcated market right now. Oracle is at the top of the list over here, which is interesting. They actually look pretty good today as well. Schwab's over here. Moderna, which is at the bottom of the top 20 list, but it actually started to make a comeback today. But this is just one day, so doesn't mean it's going to continue. Also, the relative rotation for today, this is just for today. And you can see communication services and discretionary, the two aggressive sectors, and technology. Technology is starting to move up into the leading quadrant. These two are starting to fall out, but everything else is starting to move up. So they're curling up, and this is what I mean by it's kind of a bifurcated market. It's a split between all of the aggressive and defensive sectors. So we'll have to see how that does. We'll keep an eye on that. And then if we look at the sectors themselves, this will bring it home as well. So here's the S&P. This is just for today. Anything above the S&P is outperforming the S&P. So you can see what a mix we have. Communication services, aggressive. Utilities is defensive. Real estate is defensive. Russell 2000 is aggressive. Industrials, those are all above outperforming. And the ones underperforming are technology, consumer discretionary, and the NASDAQ 100, but also staples, which is a defensive area, and energy. So it's very interesting. really a mix. If we go back 1 week, now we've got S&P down here. So going back 1 week, you can see communication, healthcare, staples, energy, more, except for communication services, more defensive at the bottom, but quite a few outperforming. So that means it's broadening out. So we're getting a little bit more breadth in the market, and that really helps with a rally. So that's why I think the rally is actually going to continue to keep moving higher. And then finally, over here on the charts page, I'll show you the 10-minute charts for today. You'll see what today looked like and how it compares with last week. So this vertical blue line is today, Monday. So everything to the left is last week, and you can see it started moving up on Wednesday, continued going higher today. So it's just following the 21-day, actually it's the 13-day, 13 and 65. It's following the 13-day moving average on up. This is a 10-minute chart. So each of these bars represents 10 minutes. So here's Monday's open. You can see technology moved a little higher. Financials is flat, discretionary flat. Communication services down a little bit, and industrials a little bit up. And then for the defensive side, healthcare is flat, staples is a little down, energy basically flat, utilities is flat, and materials is flat. So most of them, like I said, it's a real mix. The breadth looks pretty good, actually. So, the market in general looks okay. So now I want to move to the daily scan. And well, first, one more thing on here on the charts page. Let's take a look at the January barometer and see how we look. So there you are right there. We're definitely heading higher. Right now we're one for one. We've got the Santa rally was negative by 0.5%. First 5 days was positive by 0.6%. So now we want to see how the full month, and the full month is really important to determine how the rest of the year is going to look. And so far, it's actually looking pretty good. So if this continues higher, especially if we can break out through these highs back here, we'll be back into all-time highs again. So that high was 60, they call it 6,100, 6099.97. So if we get back to 6,100 and break out above it, especially if we close above it, then that's all-time highs. And I think we probably will be going higher, and it might bode well for the rest of the year if that happens. So we'll continue to keep checking on that, see what's going on. All right, so let's check the daily scan. And before I do that, I want to check a couple of stocks that someone asked me about. Close some of these down. And right here, we'll take a look at so we've got a daily on the left and a weekly on the right. This is Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin is right at resistance right here, just like I mentioned, and as well on the weekly. So it certainly has more to run. The momentum is kind of lagging a bit, though. So maybe that's why MicroStrategy didn't do as well. We'll see. Let's, out of curiosity, let's look at MicroStrategy. So it's trying to get back, but it's certainly doesn't look like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is back up near its highs, and MicroStrategy is really struggling to get through some major resistance back here. So we'll see if that can continue. All right, a couple of stocks that someone asked about. One is, we'll look at this first. Sweet Green. These both are in the same industry group, restaurants and bars. So Sweet Green had a squeeze going on down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day squeeze. The momentum was moving higher, although the MACD was below 0, which confirms a downtrend, and it's below its 21 and 50-day moving average and sitting right at the 200. So it looked like it might fire to the upside. However, the ADX, the green, was not above the red. The red was above the green, so it actually fired to the downside today. So a squeeze just tells you that there's momentum building up or energy building up because it's just going sideways, but it doesn't tell you which way it's going to go. And right now it looks like SG is going down. On the weekly, it's right on the 50. So that's a really critical area. It looks to me like it's got enough momentum, big big volume today. It's got enough momentum. It's probably going to drop through this 50 over here, which will probably take it down to around 26, I would think, around that area. So the other one is Kava, which is in the same, it's the same kind of restaurant. It's basically the same restaurant model. This is modeled around the way Chipotle models their restaurant, just with a different food group. This is more Mediterranean type of eating, more healthy kind of eating. So Kava actually looks pretty good. So you can see it's got a 3-day squeeze, and it's just the momentum just went positive today. So it just crossed the 0 line. And the 5 days about to cross the 21. So that's the short-term up signal. And this is still below 0, but it's heading higher. And the weekly too has pulled back below its 21 and 5, but it's just getting ready to go back above them. And the momentum up here looks like it might be curling up, but it's still got some work to do over here. This bar needs to start to get a little bit better, like these are over here on the side. But the green just crossed the red, so there's a lot of more positive things about Kava, even though they're in the same group, same restaurant group. This one looks much better than Sweet Green SG. So let me real quick show you the monthly histogram. We had been tracking this before. So this is Thinkorswim. So those of you that have Schwab is converting everybody to Thinkorswim. So this is the S&P right now. And remember how I told you before that back here in 21 in November and December, the momentum turned dark blue, which means it was declining even as the price was going up, which was the early warning that 22 was going to probably be a down year. This was dark blue as well on Friday, but it's not that way today. And I mentioned Friday that, wouldn't take much for this to switch over to light blue. Now, light blue means that it's higher than the day before. So what that means is momentum is to the upside more so than it was on Friday. So that's good news. If that can stay that way till the end of the month, these are monthly bars. So if it stays that way till the end of the month, that might mean that we might have dodged a bullet here. But it could still go back to dark blue if the market starts to go down before the end of the month. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. But you can see right here, that's the breakout right through here. There's Friday, and then here's Monday's candle for the S&P. All right, so let's go back and take a look at the daily scan. So first I'm going to do the default one that I created. I'm going to run that one first just to see what's in there. So I'll run the scan, and there's not too many. This one actually looks really interesting. Pure Storage. Pure Storage has broken out today. You can see that it's been in a squeeze for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days, and it fired today. So this one just breaking out of the squeeze, going higher. It's breaking out on the weekly as well. So both on a short-term and long-term basis, this one actually looks really good. Breaking above 70. Now it could pull back and test the support line back here around 66. And the 21-day will be rising. 21-day right now is at about 64, but it's rising. So if this does pull back a bit, and especially comes back down to around the 65, 66 area where support is, and the 21 moves up to that 65, 66, then that would probably be a really good time to get in. If it does that, doesn't mean it will. It could just keep going higher. But if it does, that would be a good entry point. Reddit also is one it's actually still on the top 10 list. Look at the squeeze that it's been in. So long daily squeeze over here. It's fairly new, so it doesn't have much on the weekly bars because it just opened up this year, just IPO'd this year. But looks really good over here, and it's breaking out today. In fact, it's right at the breakout, literally right at the breakout. So right here, the high was 187.69, and this one here was 191. Closed at 190. So it is just barely breaking out, but this one could certainly head higher as well. And what I mean by the top 10, if you'll on the charts page of my website, and I put these out here every week. So these are the top 10 lists. So you can see Reddit is in bright green. That means it's in all 3 lists. So the first one is relative outperformers. These have to outperform their own industry by 10% or better over the last quarter. And they have to outperform the S&P by 7% or better in the last quarter. So that's the only way they can make this list. And then they're ranked by technical ranking. So Reddit is number 3 out of all the stocks. Reddit's number 3 on that list. Top 10 over here are the ones that have beat both earnings and revenue in their last earnings report, and technical ranking over the last quarter. And you can see Reddit is number 4 on that list. And then this is the top 10 Investors Business Daily, the top 10 IBD 50, and Reddit is number 2 on this list. So very, very strong. And this is a great place to go to find some good candidates. There's one that I actually got in today. This one right here, I noticed it when I updated the list. You can see it has an asterisk, so it's brand new. CRNC, it's a software company. So I noticed it when I created the list on Saturday, and I actually got in today at 12:50. This is not on the daily scan list. It's just in my own portfolio. And it's up 11% already. It says 8.5 from the open, but I actually put a limit order in below the open. So it actually went down first and executed and then started going up. So mine is up about 11% so far, just in one day. And it looks like it probably is going to continue to head higher. Now, we can look at this on the on here, and we'll see if it has a squeeze. CRNC does not have a squeeze just yet because it went up and pulled back. But notice on this big run up, huge volume, biggest volume ever in its history. And the second day, it stayed up there, had big volume as well. And then for this pullback right here, very, very low volume, almost no volume at all. So all of these people that bought were not selling. They're hanging on to it up here. So doesn't mean it's going to continue to go higher. It could drop back, but if it does, my risk is very low because my stop is just below the 21 day, right back here. So I get stopped out if it does reverse, but it looks pretty good. Good chance that it's going to go higher. So we'll see. So anyway, that's a way to use the top 10 list. And I also do the top 10 for large cap, mid caps, and small caps every week. I update those as well. So those are right down here. And if they're highlighted in red, that means they are also in the top 3 for their sector. So you can see Lunar here is in the top 3 of the industrial sector. Reddit up here is in the top 3 for communication services. So that's one way to just validate that they're strong stocks. If they're in the top 10 and also in the top 3, then that means they're usually pretty strong stocks. And I put all of these together into a CSV file that you can download and import it into any other platform. So that's right here. Today there's 282. This week there are 282 stocks on the list. Last week there were 319. So I update this every weekend, usually on Sundays. So that'll be a new list every week. All right, let's go back and look at the daily scan again, and I'll show you what I added. So let's do another scan. In this case, it's one that I created. Looking for the ADX cross, so that means the green line crossing the red line, and just going above the 21-day EMA. So we'll run the scan. There's quite a few in this one. So the first one I'll point out is ASTS, and I sent an alert out to subscribers today. ASTS is on the short squeeze list. It has about 22% of its float is short. So the short squeeze list searches against anything that has more than 20% short. So if it starts breaking above some of these resistance levels, and especially right there about 28 to 30, then that's where the shorts are going to start to feel pain. Right there, 28.76. So anything above 29 or into the 30 area, shorts are going to start to feel pain. So because they will be underwater and they'll be losing money. So for them to get out of their position, they have to buy. And that's what makes a short squeeze. That's what pushes it up. So this is not yet a short squeeze. It's just a short squeeze candidate. And the reason it hit the screen is it has to be up significantly for the day. It has to end near the top of its range for the day. It has to have higher volume than average. So there's a number of things that go into it, and it needs to be on the short squeeze list, which means more than 20% of its float is short, 22% in this case. So that was on the list. It's not that I'm recommending anyone buy it. This is a very specialized trading strategy. You have to really understand what you're doing. It can go down. It's being shorted for a reason. So people think that it might not be such a great stock. So you need to do your homework on it. But just from a technical perspective, once it gets above these resistance areas around 28 to 29, shorts are going to be losing money. So they're going to have to cover. When that happens, this can go up pretty quickly. And look at the squeeze that it's in. Look at that squeeze. That is a long squeeze on the daily and long squeeze on the weekly. And the weekly momentum bars just started to move higher. So this really could just be the beginning of something right here. So I just sent that out to subscribers today just to alert people about it. You can make your own decision of your trading style to see if you want to trade it or not. So there's some more over here. All of these have been in the top 10 list at some point. That's where I start my scans from. Docs looks pretty good right there. So it's not in a squeeze, but it's just been moving sideways and looked like it's getting ready to break out. So up here about 58 is the breakout area. So that one looks interesting. Fortinet 97 probably wants to make it back to 100 and maybe even break through. So now this one isn't a very long squeeze on the daily chart right down here. You can see all those red dots. And this is part of the scan is that the ADX, the green line, has to just be crossing the red, just crossing today. Another part of the scan is that it has to end near its high for the day. So I don't want something that goes up and causes the green line to cross, but then comes all the way back down again. So that's part of the scan as well. General Motors is in here. That's what they look like. Looks like they're right at the 50-day moving average. Big volume for today. What else? Jeffries, Contour Brands. That looks like it's heading back up for a breakout. Big squeeze down here as well. You can see the green just crossed the red. So that one looks pretty interesting. Redwire, the one that I'm not in, but I wish I was because it had a huge day today. So this is one that was on the daily scan. We were in it and made, I think, like 30% in about a week or so, 2 weeks. 30% in about 2 weeks, got out because it took the stop out and wasn't paying attention to see if it was going to do something, but it had a great day today. So for those that were following along and did not sell it, congratulations. That was good. Here's one that I did add to the daily scan, Verisight. So this is sitting right at its resistance line. Had huge volume yesterday, or Friday rather. Volume was not more than average, but started to look pretty good. The green just crossed the red down here. So this one is a little bit iffy. I would prefer to see it actually break out up here. So it needs to get above 44, 45 for a breakout. But my risk is very low because we can get out down here, at the 50-day moving average, which is where the stop is at 41 right now. And so that's it for that one. I'm going to close this one and run one more scan. And this one is stocks that are near the 21-day moving average. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want to run the scan, not edit the scan. All right, so we've got ASTSs on this one as well. Axon, which has been a really good performer. It's a expensive stock, but it looks like it's starting to make a comeback right now. Not quite above the 50-day, but they make the cameras, the body cameras for police. If you ever see on TV when they show film of the body cameras for police, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see Axon up there in the upper right corner of the video. So they supply all of the police departments across the country. What else we have over here? There's Docs again. It's on this list as well. Fortinet is on this list. Honeywell is on here. Just trying to make a comeback. Here's a computer hardware, quantum computing stock. Not quite at the resistance, but it's getting there. Palo Alto had a great day today. There's Palo Alto. Actually pulled back a little bit at near the end. So it's trying to make a comeback, but it's still below the 50-day moving average. So it's got some work to do. Palantir. Palantir, I think if anyone's interested to get back into this, this might be the time to do it. So it's below zero, but it's getting ready to go back above zero. It's just getting above the 21-day. That's part of the scan. So it's right at the 21-day. Momentum starting to move higher. The green has crossed the red down here. On the weekly chart, it actually is kind of at its highs right now, and momentum is rolling over a little bit. So you have to be a little bit careful. That might mean that it might not be an extended run if it does run, but it could get back here to the highs again for Palantir. Road construction, that's starting to make a move. It's in a squeeze right now, a daily squeeze. Soundhound, this is another one that I added today as well. So Soundhound is up 20% today. I added it right at the end of the day, and had a nice run right at the end of the day. I'm trying to look at where it's at. Yeah, had a little bit of a run at the end of the day, right there. So Green Cross, this is an AI stock as well. Green crossed the red down here. So it's been pulling back quite a bit, all the way to the 50, and bounced off the 50 and just got above the 21 today. So that's the reason it made the scan. So I added it to the list. ZETA is on here too for you out there that I've asked about ZETA. One of the subscribers was talking about this on our call on Sunday. By the way, any subscribers that could not make the call on Sunday, if you go to the website and go to webinars and newsletters, it is out there now, so you can rewatch it. This is basically an open forum where we just talk about anything about the market and look at charts, anything you want to talk about, basically. And all the previous ones are out here as well. And there's some training videos over here too. So let's go back and look at ZETA. It has a lot of work to do. You can see right here on earnings on the 11th, that's where it dropped off a cliff, went all the way down, tried to make a comeback, but hit the 50-day, got rejected. Now it's back to the 21, which is part of the scan over here. The green is above the red. It's part of the scan. It's in a 3-day squeeze. The weekly is just moving sideways, so it might be right at support. This is support right here at about 1650 roughly. So it may have hit support, and today it closed at 1918. So it looks like it might be trying to make a reversal, but it has not confirmed that yet. It has not really confirmed a character change. A character change would be a higher high. So right now it's just barely above this high. I wouldn't actually call that a higher high yet, especially since it's right at the 21, and it still needs to get through the 50 and the 200. I suspect it's going to hit resistance right there at about $21 when it gets to the 200 and the 50. The 50 is coming down, so it's going to merge there with the 200 soon. So I suspect that will be the test. If it can't get through that and gets rejected again, then down here at 1650 is pretty solid support, but it's got a lot of work to do to get through those resistance areas. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you want me to continue to do this. And if there's any particular stocks that you would like for me to take a look at the charts, I'd be happy to do that. Helps me to take a look at different ones, and maybe helps everybody else to see how I look at things. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.